Okay. All right. So this is the second one, and we're going to see if this one works. Because maybe that other one was just forked. Okay. All right. So okay. So here is the new link. See if this one works. And now I'm frozen. Okay, there we go. Actually, yeah, right. Round 3. Yeah, really, round 3. Shit posting. I still can't. What the fuck? What is going on with this thing? Are they just have people seen? Yeah, there was Hangouts being done today. Let me see. Copy. Let me go to the Hangout. Huh. Okay. So I could. He was doing. Yeah. Lady Gravedancer was doing one other. I know that Chris was doing one, and so was. No, there's been Hangouts today, so that's not the problem. I wonder what the problem is. Huh. That's weird. Let me try. Hey, Mary, how's it going? Let me try. Zabora, let me send Zabora. Go into Facebook and send me a message just saying hi or whatever, and we'll see if that works. I wonder what's going on with it. First time in a live chat like this. Yeah, this is the first chat on. This is the first time for a live chat like this one too. For some weird reason, I can't post a link to get people to join. And I'm wondering what it could be, because I know that I was using Firefox, and Firefox, they can't, they stopped supporting Google Hangouts. So I have an old version of Chrome, and I'm thinking that's the problem. I'm thinking I have to upgrade to Chrome. That's probably what it is. Well, correct. Yeah, technology is great when it works. Okay, so there you are. I see no message block. Okay, so I have you on here twice, Zabora. So that's why I wasn't receiving any messages from you. Okay, so I just posted the link in there. See if that works. And let me see who I'm signed in as in this fucking thing. Figured out what the problem is. Yep. I think I figured it out.
Hey, we made it.
Okay, so you were able to connect through Facebook.
Woohoo! Yeah, I did.
Huh. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay, so now we got to figure out how we can get Witchy Jim in here.
You're the tech dude. I hate technology.
Yeah, I know. All right. Well, anyhow, I got you in here.
We're half there.
Yeah, really, exactly halfway there.
But what's a cult talks without bugs, you know? Come on.
Yeah, really, exactly.
How many times has Heathen Haven been delayed like 45 minutes because somebody didn't update their browser?
45 minutes? No, no, no. We're on time with that.
Now, I remember the early days. I was there at the beginning.
Yeah, like the first time we did it.
Yeah.
So, all right, let me, I think I know why there was an issue. Okay, so I am signed in as that. Okay, so I have to clear this, leave that, leave it. Okay, so now that's cleared. So let me paste the link one more time, Witchy Jim, and click on that and see if it works. And then also, Witchy Jim, when you get onto Facebook, send me a message, and I'll accept your friend request, and then you can join through. You can join through Facebook because Zabora was able to do it.
That's right. I cheat.
Yep. Crazy. So how's everything going with you?
Pretty good. Just drama at work. I think I'm gonna have to find my headphones. I hear an echo.
Okay. And let me see what is going on. It's working. Check on it. Nope. Link doesn't work. Okay. Witchy Jim, send me a friend request on Facebook. I'm gonna pop this out. And who else wants to join? Let me know. Lady Ambrosia, do you want to join?
Hell yeah, Lady A.
Zabora wants you to join. And Misty Dawn, too. I want to get her in here. I would so love. Okay, cool. Let me send you the link through Facebook, Lady Ambrosia. Because apparently that is working. So I just sent you the link, Lady Ambrosia. And Witchy Jim, I have to switch back and forth between these windows. I was watching a flat Earth video before this. Oh man, these people in the flat Earth. That's like a whole nother level of crazy right there.
I don't understand those people at all.
I've got the crud. Lady Ambrosia says she has the crud.
I have the crud too. That's no excuse. Get on here.
Yeah. No, sorry. I'm just going to dance around your chat room tonight. Okay, all right, fine. Fine, Lady Ambrosia, whatever. So yeah, so anyhow, so I was watching this they were talking about the flat Earth, and it's like they're so smug. They're like, you know, they're talking about all the evidence that they have for a flat Earth and how, like, you know, how scientists just say that the Earth is round and we have to believe them.
It's not like scientists use facts or anything, you know, or measure anything.
Yeah, well, it was the way that they were wording it. There was like, you know, like you can put a flat plane on the ground, and then they were saying that Eratosthenes, the famous Greek philosopher, I don't know, he was a Greek somebody. I don't know if he was a philosopher or not, but he was the one. Was he one?
I have no idea who you're even talking about.
Yeah, all right, okay. Anyhow, so there was this experiment that was done in Greece in like 2000. Anyhow, a long time ago, I don't know the exact date, in Greece. But what they did was on the summer solstice, they were at two different cities that were a couple of 100 miles apart. And at exactly the point when the sun was in the highest you know, it was at noon on the summer solstice. They put a stick down in the ground and looked at the shadow and measured the shadow and said, okay, the shadow is, you know, like 2.5 knuckles or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other person at the other city that was a couple hundred miles away, he did the same thing. The stick, the same length, put it in the ground and noticed that it was longer, meaning that the shadow from the stick where the sun was shining, it was longer in the distance away. So they understood from that, they were able to calculate that the earth is indeed round. It does have a curvature to it.
Yeah, because
So he was debunking that by saying that the person who did that didn't exist.
okay.
I was like, okay, all right. It's like, it's an experiment you could actually do.
Yeah, this is like at-home shit. Get a stick and a buddy.
You could recreate it.
You could even do it like today with technology. You know, you're a couple hundred miles away from me. I'm sure we could figure this shit out if we could find somebody who can do the math.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can even do it with a cell phone. You just take a picture of it. No, I mean, but it's just so ridiculous. It's like instead of attacking the argument that the person who had, you know, the experiment that they had put forth, instead they decided to attack the person and say that he didn't exist. It's like, even if he didn't exist, it doesn't detract
disprove. Yeah, it doesn't disprove the experiment. The science is still valid.
Exactly. All right, let me see what's going on with Facebook here.
I'm just charging my headphones till Witchy Jim gets here. I got all the time in the world. I'm off, so.
Okay, good. I hope, is he still in the chat? I hope he didn't get frustrated and leave.
I hope not.
Can you post a link to your Facebook? Yeah, Witchy Jim, I can, but I don't think we're friends on Facebook. Let me look through this again. So yeah, so I was watching that for like about how long did it go? It was I think it went on for like an hour and a half, and I was watching it for like the first 45 minutes. That's about all I could take.
Yeah, I know that feeling, because eventually you're just like, there's too much stupid in one video. Do you know how long it takes me to do like the Emily Stevenson responses? Hours.
Well,
so much you can process.
Well, you can do whatever you want, Zabora, but I don't even understand.
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, no, I mean, like, in general, there's just only so much you can take in one sitting.
Right, I see what you're saying. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can only absorb so much, and then you're just like, okay, that's it. I can't handle anymore. No, I can't. I can't handle any of her. So I just don't.
Yeah.
Let me see. I mean, some people who I annoy or get annoyed with me, and I mean, it's kind of entertaining to sort of go back and forth with them for a little while just to watch them get pissed off.
I'm bored.
I mean, she is suffering from an illness, and I understand that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she needs to deal with that. She needs to take responsibility. She needs to take care of herself, and she needs to address that illness. That's just the way it is.
No, of course.
Whatever illness each one of us struggles with, we have to address it. We have to face it. She's just not doing that.
Yeah.
Can't seem to find you. Might just have to wait until next time. Witchy Jim, I'm on Facebook as Lilocan Scathach. So if you can't find, you should be able to find that on Facebook. I don't think there's too many of us by that name. I'll put it in the chat. So look for me under that name. I just don't understand why the posting the link in YouTube is not working.
I don't either. But, you know, it's never worked for me. You've always had to use Facebook with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, usually, like, because what I prefer to do is to email people and then invite them that way, or through Twitter or Facebook. The very last resort, because it always works, was to post it in the chat so that anybody can click the link and join. But
I think I have
for
used
whatever, huh?
I think I have used the YouTube method before, actually.
Yeah, it works. But for some weird reason, it's just not working now. And I think, excuse me, I think what it is I think I have to, because I haven't used Google Chrome for so long, I probably have to update it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And the Morgan's Crow. Hey, Morgan's Crow, how's it going? So let me see. Witchy Jim. There we go. There's his friend request.
Yay! We're getting there. We're almost there.
Yep. I guess he created a new account.
Oh, I did.
All right. No, that was somebody else. Okay, so I just rented some random person.
Oh shit.
Oops. Oh well. Okay, Witchy Jim. So what I did was I posted the link in Facebook. So go into Facebook and click that link, and it should work.
You mean YouTube?
And if it doesn't work, then I'm going to pick up my computer, I'm going to throw it through the wall, and we'll be done for tonight.
Why the violence, bro? Big Daddy, you're scaring me. Calm down.
Yay! See? There you go.
Oh.
All right. Okay. So the Facebook worked. All right. Good. So just to give people a background, so this was actually supposed to be Witchy Jim's hangout. We were supposed to, Zabora and myself, we were supposed to meet Witchy Jim on his channel. We were going to do a hangout on his channel, and he was having similar problems to me, and we just couldn't get it to work. So I said, hey, why don't we try it on my channel? I'll show you I'll walk you through it, and we'll see if we can do it that way. And then, of course, I was having problems. He couldn't join, so it's one of those nights. So.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah. So, okay, so let me see, how can I do this? I think I'm going to do it with Firefox. Okay, so let me see here. Let me go into screen share. And let's see. I don't know if I would be able to do that. Should be able to. So anyhow, so Witchy Jim, so consider this to be your hangout. And so why don't you go ahead and just take it from here? Is that all right?
That's all good, man. Go ahead.
So anyhow, so Witchy Jim, so consider this to be your hangout. Yeah, and you're in. So
are we having issues again?
Do you have headphones? Get headphones. Oh, come back. You just need headphones.
Uh-oh. So, yeah.
Well,
hopefully he'll be back. Maybe he accidentally clicked off it.
Yeah, I think he was trying to stop the video from playing.
Oh, that's probably what it was. Yeah, so no worries. All he's got to do is just click on it back again. Okay, let me see who's in the chat. Because I was trying to keep an eye on the chat. I know that, let me see. Let's see. Mary, morning. How's it going, Mary? Obvious internet troll. How's it going, Obvious? Misty Dawn. Hey, Misty Dawn. And Timothy Gallagher. How's it going? Nick B. How's it going, Nick B? Let's see. That's pretty much about it. It looks like who's been active in the chat lately. Work depends on bugs in the system. Yeah. Well, finally got it all worked out.
Yeah, now we just got to get Jim back. This is his chat.
I feel bad because it was his hangout to begin with. You know.
Yeah. This is Jim's
Too
chat.
much bad energy now. Okay.
You pussy.
Pussy. Let me see. I want to get Misty Dawn in here. She's I haven't really met her. But I don't think I'm friends with her on Facebook.
Here we go again.
Yeah, really. Have bugs to work your ahead. Collect 200 dozen. Not a bad word. And how's it going, Nicholas? Morgan's Crow. Read Dragon by H.P. Lovecraft the other night. Fascinating read.
Dude, you're getting some
H.P.
new
Lovecraft
subs up in here.
Huh?
You got a lot of new people up in here.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. It's good to see your channel grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then I just have to keep making videos.
I know. How dare you? How dare you have to please us? Please us with your videos, Lilokin. Oh, Big Daddy.
Oh, I
Big
love
Daddy, we need your
I love
videos.
pleasing. I love pleasing myself with the videos. Actually, that reminds me, I'm working on another video right now. You remember that Skype call that I did?
Which one?
The one the guy the Skype call that the guy.
Oh yeah. I remember.
I think it's the only one that I did.
Yeah, I remember that you like exorcised his demons and whatever. I remember.
Well, I'm doing another one of those.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
Yes.
I love
So I'm working on that one right now, but those always take a little more time because they take much more editing.
Yeah, you have to sync it up.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm hoping to get that out by next Wednesday. But
Well,
so that
be
should
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are always good. I miss your Illuminati videos too, where you dressed up as the different characters, but that's got to be really time consuming.
Yeah, and then I also have to do the green screen too.
Yeah, that's got to be a pain in the ass.
And that gets, well, actually what it is that the green screen isn't that big of a deal really setting it up. I don't know why I focused on that aspect of it. Really what it is I have to put 2 lights up, and the lights are like 1,000 watts or something. I mean, something completely ridiculous because they're like the cheapest lights you can get.
Uh-huh.
And I have to put them up in such a way where they light me up and the green screen, but it doesn't cast a shadow onto the green screen because otherwise you can't, if you have a shadow or any kind of change of, if you have like a fold or anything in a green screen, it'll show up when you key it in
When
your
you edit it?
software. Yeah, in editing software. So I have to put these lights at a very specific angle, and they're incredibly hot. And they can only go for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then you have to turn them off because they get really hot.
Damn.
So
Well,
what I
yeah.
end up doing, because sometimes I'll spend like an hour filming, but I'll actually only use like 15 minutes of it. And so, yeah. So I'll have the lights going, and after like 15 or 20 minutes, I'll have to stop it and then start back up again. So that's why I just switched to the little devil card, because it just became so much easier.
Well, it's cute. You know, you see his little animated faces and everything, and you match it up with the little tears. I think it's adorable. I love the little
Yeah.
devil face. That one I like.
Yeah, but I mean, but people do tell me they do miss the green screen, so we'll see. I'll see if I can get the green screen going again.
Well, you can do like a little witchy special. You don't have to do it all the time, but maybe like once every couple months or so. They're just
That's
fun. I like them.
yeah. That's exactly what I'm thinking I'll do. Is I'll just do it every so often. I won't do it all the time, but every so often I'll do it. Because sometimes it's nice you can have little characters that you can't really do with the cards, you know? The cards I can do facial expressions. I can create those, but I can't really create like characters like you were mentioning, like the Illuminati guy.
Very true. Mm.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
think I'll do
just miss him. I liked him. I'd like to see him again.
All right. And Animus is here. Hey, Animus, how's it going? Oh, okay. So Witchy Jim kind of, I guess he was feeling bad. So
Witchy Jim, come back. We haven't even officially met yet. We
yeah,
just chit chatted.
that's all right. Maybe he'll start another one.
Yeah,
Some
we
other
can always
day.
try again.
Yeah, because I mean, the thing with the Google Hangouts is once you get it going and you do it like the first time, then you understand. But getting it set up for the very first time, you're like, okay, it's not very intuitive, you know.
Yeah, I know Lady Ambrosia had trouble like the first 2 or 3 times, but then she's got it like down pat now.
Yeah, now she's like, start it,
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah, you get used to your tools.
I know, but the first time you're doing it, you're like, okay, wait, am I doing everything right? You're super focused on it. You're like, oh shit, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that. But then
see,
once
I
you get
feel
it
that
down,
way
you're
about
like, yeah,
everything.
you know.
Yeah, but I feel that way about everything. It's like, oh shit, did I get my routine yet? You know?
Have you done a hangout on your channel yet?
No, fuck that noise.
Why not?
Fuck that noise. I hate technology. I don't want to play with the internet. I am a grandma stuck in a 29-year-old body.
You're not a 29 years old. You're a grandmother.
No, that's what I'm saying. Think of me like as an old woman who can't handle change or technology. I am like your grandmother that you have to
living with 50 cats that are going to eat you when you die.
Right. And I don't know how to do the Skype yet.
Oh, don't even get me started on Skype. I updated Skype and everything got all fucked up. I'm serious.
I don't even have Skype. I don't do that. I don't do the tweeter.
You don't twat?
I don't twat.
Wait, no, a twat is after you sent a tweet. Before you tweet, it's a twit. Twat? Tweet.
I don't fucking know.
What?
Why are you gonna be asking me these questions, dude? I've had a long day.
A long day.
I get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, for your work?
Hell yeah.
Wow.
And then I got my husband wake me up at 11:30 going, baby, we need to talk. And I was like, why? I'm sleeping.
I thought girls were the only ones who said we have to talk.
Oh, he's very
Guys,
sensitive.
we don't want to talk. I'm serious. No, we don't want to talk.
That's me. I am the male, classic male role in the relationship. He's a little sensitive.
Oh, no. I can't handle it. Every time I've had a girlfriend that says we want to talk, it's like, why?
Yeah, that's what I said.
I mean, I don't mind chatting like about stuff, but I don't want to talk. You know what I mean? I put it in quotes, that sort of talk. I don't want to talk unless it has something to do with like, you know, I've been sleeping with your best friend and we're getting married. Yeah, that deserves a talk, but
pertinent information.
Yes, right, exactly. Pertinent information like I've been fucking the mailman and I'm leaving you. Oh, okay. Well, bye. Oh, by the way.
Yeah. I can't handle too much drama. And, you know, I work in a bar, so it's just a lot of drama. And he asked me, how's your day? And I'm just like, I don't want to fucking talk about it. Why can't you just leave me the hell alone? Don't talk about work. When I leave, I don't want to talk about work anymore. That shit does not affect my life. Let's talk about you. How are you? I don't want to fucking talk. Leave me alone.
And there's nothing worse than drunk drama.
Oh, God. I had a girl come in, tell me she just got used in the parking
Zabora?
lot for a
Zabora?
yeah.
Zabora?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Okay.
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
A girl came in. Well, I shouldn't say girl. She's like 50. She came in and said, I got used in the parking lot for a couple of dollars so I could gamble and have a drink because she's an alcoholic and she's shaking.
Right.
It's horrific. That's kind of like why I just did the video I just did, the 5 unsuspecting victims. I don't even know if that's finished uploading or not, but yeah, that's kind of pertains to that. So go watch that.
And
Plug
so
for
you
me.
said you went into a parking lot and she was used for a couple of dollars?
Yeah, our parking lot. Like she just performed a sexual act for
Right.
a few dollars so she could gamble.
That sucks. And then, yeah, because in Nevada, prostitution is legal, right?
Yeah, but we're talking like gacked out tweaker whores here, dude. This is Sun Valley.
Yeah.
We have people go in there and shoot up in our bathrooms. That's the neighborhood I work in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not good because if people shoot up in your bathroom and they die, you're responsible for it.
I keep one of those pins, one of those overdose pins on me.
Mm-hmm.
I have an EpiPen as well in case we have an allergic reaction because some of our booze does contain things that people can be allergic to.
Right.
And then I've also got a first aid kit, and 911 is, just a few seconds away. We have our REMSA always is really close by. We always have paramedics close by in Sun Valley.
And do you have a sharps box in the bathroom?
No, we don't. And I am so pissed about that. I was telling my boss about that today because we found a needle last night.
Right.
I was like, I am not going in there and putting my hand in there and pulling that out and getting AIDS all over me.
Yep.
I'm not sticking myself with some fucking needle because you guys are too goddamn cheap to put a sharp box up in there for them.
Yeah, they got to put a sharps box in there. They got to do that because I mean you can get hepatitis, you can get AIDS, you can just poke yourself, and who wants to poke themselves on a needle?
That's like,
even if you don't catch anything, who wants to do that? Who wants to reach into a trash bin and get poked by a needle? So yeah, they should put a sharps box in there.
To be honest, I don't clean the bathrooms because of that. I will not touch the bathrooms in here because I know our clientele, most of them are addicts, and that includes gambling addicts,
Yeah.
So I just don't do it.
Yeah, that's not good. They should do that. Yeah, I knew an employee at my job who he was a janitor, and he was wrapping up the garbage, and they have sharps boxes that the tenants in this hotel can use.
Mm-hmm.
And he has kind of thick boots and everything, but he, for whatever reason, he decided to kind of like compact the garbage down, and the needle poked through his shoe and into his foot. And
that kind of scares me because I do that.
Yeah, and what happened was it ruined his life. I'm serious. What happened was, first of all, he got in trouble at work because he wasn't supposed to do that. Whatever, that was like the minimal of it all. His girlfriend at the time, I think it was his wife maybe, got freaked out because he went to a doctor, and the doctor said, I don't know if you have AIDS or not because it might not show up for X amount of time. So she got all freaked out, and she got a divorce from him.
Oh my
God. He lost his job, he lost his marriage, all because of this happening. And I was a shop steward at the time, and I'm representing him during the meeting. And the HR person, because I live in San Francisco, California, says maybe you should smoke pot to ease your anxiety. And I just looked across the table at this HR person who's younger than me, and I was like,
Are you kidding me?
first of all, marijuana is not a good thing to use if you are anxious. There are a lot of people who don't do well with pot and anxiety. It's quite the opposite. There are people who do smoke it and their anxiety goes down, but not everybody.
It kind of depends on the strain for me. Like I
Yeah.
can't have too strong a sativa because it's too much energy. It's too much up for my anxiety to handle.
Right. But I mean, I was just like looking at this guy who's in the human resources department for,
Yeah, that's
I
not
forget how many
appropriate.
thousands of employees they have. And this guy, I mean, his wife was divorcing him. They're trying to fire him over this. I was representing him, and they're like, "Why don't you smoke pot?" And I'm just like, "Why don't
Why?
you
So I can piss dirty?
give him some time off so he can deal with what he has to deal with and understand that he was an employee trying to do his job and give him the second chance."
I don't understand that shit either because people are just so greedy. That's gotta be it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but anyhow, but I mean, yeah, so sharps boxes are really good to have because you never know, you know.
And I know our clientele would use them.
Mhm.
I've scared one drug dealer away. I was like, dude, TJ, I know what you do. If I catch you doing it, you're gone. That's it.
Yeah.
You will not see me call the police and you will be out of here. So he don't come back. He says, okay, thank you very much. And he was gone. I got a couple of addicts that I know would use the sharp boxes because I would approach them and say, hey, put that in that. That's what that's for. Make my job easier. But thank you for telling me the story about putting your foot in there because I do that. I have to compact the trash down
Yeah.
because we're
And
supposed to save bags, but fuck that now. No, not at $7.25 an hour.
yeah, because you never know what angle the needle's going to be at, and you know, even if you have a thick-soled shoe, sometimes it can go right through it. You just don't know. That's why
Okay.
that's why those sharp boxes are so good. They pick up the garbage and make sure there's room to tie it. Don't tie it all the way down. It's just tie it to the top and hold it by that top, and then take it to the garbage. Don't even.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to mention thick-soled shoes to Red Wing when I go get my new
There's
shoes.
also there's also a type of a glove that you can get. It's a puncture-proof glove. They're kind of expensive, so you probably have like one pair that maybe everybody in the place could use.
No, no, no,
But
no, no.
those are really.
They won't spring for that. I'd have to buy that.
Oh, okay, yeah, because you know those little plastic surging gloves that most people use that's good for like pathogens and blood and stuff like that, but for needles and glass, it's not going to do
Yeah.
anything. You have to get puncture proof gloves for it. Yeah, see, that's one of the reasons I get frustrated at my job is because they just weren't the clientele that we were. I mean, I didn't have to deal with it because I wasn't on the front line, but a lot of the people on the front lines, they don't have equipment to protect the people who were working there, and that was one of my frustrations as a shop steward. There was to get them to spring the money for stuff that's going to protect their employees.
I won't buy that. Fuck them. They're not going to pay for that. We don't even have a silent alarm. The only thing that is alarmed are our kiosks. They are more concerned with the 15,000 in that kiosk than they are with me.
Get a shotgun behind that counter. By the time you hit that silent alarm and the police arrive, whoever was there doing whatever they're doing is gone.
True. Very
what
true.
I mean?
And this is Tweakerville. I'm at the mouth of Tweakerville. So I can open carry. Well, Nevada's open carry, but I can concealed carry. I have nothing on my record. I'm thinking about getting a gun, honestly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, because they were talking about. I heard some. I think it was right after the Charleston shooting, because the guy who took down the shooter was carrying. It was a member of the NRA, and he had a forget exactly what kind of a gun that he had, but it was more than just a handgun, because the Charleston shooter had on body armor, and there wasn't a way, if he would have had a handgun, it wouldn't have gone through the body armor.
Oh,
He knew
crap.
exactly where to shoot him, right in the side there. But they were saying that the average police response time is 6 to 7 minutes,
Yeah,
and
that's a long time with a robbery.
yeah, and by the time this person's gone into the church and shot those people and started leaving, was less than that. It was like a couple of minutes. And so there was no police around at that time. And if he wouldn't have been there, he either would have gotten away or killed a bunch more people. So, I mean, I'm really not for gun control, but I don't know.
I'm pro Second Amendment, but I am very pro gun control as well.
Yeah.
They don't want us to have guns. They feel that if we don't present a threat to them, they won't hurt us. They don't understand when you're twacked out, on meth, you don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, the Red Devil says, I think he means South. Yes, thank you, Red Devil. I meant Sutherland Springs, not Charleston.
Well, the Charleston one
that
is
was
the
that
white
was
supremacist with the car.
yeah, that was I think that little brat was just a fucking racist. I don't think he was a white supremacist.
Whatever, him.
But yeah, he was the Charleston shooter. I mean, like I don't think he was like part of an official group or anything. I think he was just a racist.
Punk racist.
Yeah, he was just some guy who wanted to go out and kill people. I mean, that's why I only make that distinction, because it's like they assume like there's like these like terrorist cells, and it's like, no, it's just there's these people who go out and do these acts. But yeah, so I did. I meant the where was it? The Sutherland Springs. I meant that one. That was the one I meant. The Texas church shooting. Yes, that one. Yeah, and I think they've done studies on it, and most of the cities that have open carry have the lowest crime.
Yeah.
So I think there should be stricter gun control, and I don't think people need to be walking around with M16s. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
I don't really think it's even the gun control. Do you remember the last mass shooting we had? The guy broke out of a mental institution. People need to start doing their job and putting their info up in the databases like they're supposed to.
Right. Yeah. I think that was the Texas shooter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he was in the military, and then the military didn't pass along the information to the FBI, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think, yeah, I mean, I think that there's various layers. I mean, first of all, I think our society is overly stressed. I mean, there's just stress all over the place. And I think that's yeah, and I mean, that's the very first thing we need to do is relieve stress in our society. People are stressing about jobs, stressing about homes, stressing about everything. And most of it comes down to economics, like that's just basic needs of life we need to make accessible. If people want to, move up from there, then that's another step up. But I think we need to reduce stress in society. Then the second thing is, and a lot of people laugh at it, but they need to control bullets. Gun control is another thing, but bullet control is the other, so that every bullet is traced, every bullet is marked, so they know exactly who and where it came from. So if somebody goes out and buys like 100 rounds, it's like, why are you suddenly buying 100 rounds of ammo?
Right. I think that's what they do in Sweden, right? Guns are everywhere, but the bullets are only at the range.
Okay. I didn't know that.
I think it's something similar to that. Somebody Google.
Somebody Google it. But yeah, so I mean, and then if somebody is going to purchase a gun, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be like even a month wait, or however long. Because if you need a gun like right away, right now, something's going on. If you really want to buy a gun, you can wait a couple of months.
Yeah. Like, look, I'm going to be honest with you, okay? Because I had to do the federal background check to go and get my job because it's gaming. I went in an hour later. They knew everything I did from the time I turned 18. My coworker said he had shit on his record he forgot about from 30 years ago that they called him on.
Oh, wow.
In an hour. So if they really, wanted this tighter gun control, they're going to have to get a little subdivision and create some new jobs and get people to run these background checks, because that's going to be massive. But it only takes an hour.
Mm-hmm. And then,
so a month
and then how long did it take for the background check and everything to come through?
The hour. That's what I'm saying. The police pulled up everything on me from the time I was 18.
Oh, well, I'm thinking just like a waiting period, just to wait.
Why would you just want to wait? That's ridiculous. The whole purpose of the waiting period is just to get a background check to make sure you check out. In my opinion, that's what it should be.
Right. I know. But I'm thinking, okay, so there was a shooting that happened at One California here in San Francisco years ago. And what it was there was this guy who was working at an office building at One California. His girlfriend or whatever, who worked in the office too, broke up with him and was going out with some other guy. And he got all upset and they ended up firing him. And he came back with a Tech 9 gun and started shooting people in the office. So what that waiting period does is if for like a week or a month or however, maybe longer they should have it, is it gives people like that an opportunity to kind of to calm down a little bit. Because if you can go out and get a gun in a couple of hours, then you're still running on that anger.
Oh, very
That's
true.
what I'm thinking.
What I'm saying is that like that's going to take time, because if you want to go and buy a gun at a gun show, it's going to take you an hour. It's going to take you, the 12 people behind you an hour. It's going to take time to get those guns. So it will amount to being like a month-long waiting list for you to go buy a gun, at least.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a gun. I've never tried to buy a gun, so I don't know about these things. I'm just running on the information that I have.
Well, I'm a hunter, or at least I come from a hunter family, so.
You don't hunt.
I used to. I couldn't kill the animals, though. I totally pussed out. Fishing was really difficult for me, too. I couldn't do it, Liloke, and I couldn't put the worm on the hook. I squirmed.
Zabora, you can't bullshit me. You're not a hunter.
I used to. We used to shoot the birds. No, because we have these birds that like carry diseases and stuff up from Mexico that poison the cattle. I'm in the country, so you have to shoot the birds. That was like the closest thing I came. Well, we shot the quail one time. That was dinner, though.
Yeah.
So
but you probably used a shotgun for that, right?
Yeah, it was birdshot.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want somebody to, tell me I don't get guns, just the military gets guns, or just the police get guns.
No.
The police take too long to get here. I want my gun.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not saying that we should make guns illegal. I mean, first of all, I don't think that's going to work.
No.
But I am saying that I think that there should be more regulations on guns. Like, there's no reason why somebody needs an M16.
Exactly.
Shotguns, rifles, handguns, those are all different. I mean, I've been around people with guns, on many sides. My sister, she bought a gun. She had it in her car, and it was just a little gun. I can't remember exactly what it was, but she bought it for self-defense,
Exactly.
She was single, living in LA, and, she had a gun. And, yeah, I don't blame her for it, you know. And then I had a friend of mine back in the day, and he had a gun that he bought illegally. And you know, people can buy guns illegal. It's not a big surprise. That's why I laugh at people when they talk about gun control making them illegal. It's like, okay,
No,
make guns illegal. It's not going to do anything. All kinds of things are illegal. Drugs are illegal.
exactly.
Prostitution's illegal, but it still happens.
Exactly. That's why we have police.
Yeah.
I feel that's just ridiculous. There's no point in tighter regulations for the most part. I do agree there are some things that need to be changed. But I have not looked at the letter of the law like to the T to know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
These are just my thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't take what I say as holy writ, people. Don't build your life's truth upon my words.
Well,
I
you
am
know,
not a
it is,
god.
but it is a sensitive topic today. You know, I think that
Yeah.
a lot of people really get pretty sensitive. They're not really sensitive about it. They're very opinionated. And I mean, it's just really interesting. I was in a Facebook group discussion earlier today, and I had posted a article on atheistic paganism.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I thought it was interesting because I've always subscribed to the idea that there were. I mean, it's known in history that there were a lot of, especially Greek philosophers, who were atheistic. They didn't believe in a deity or deities.
It makes
And
sense.
yeah, and I mean, there was a lot of various forms of pre-Christian religions that believed in deities. So they were definitely the minority and not the majority. But still, I had subscribed to that. I still subscribe to that. And they perceive deities as representation of forces of nature and forces of ourselves. And I see that too. So I posted this in the group, and I got some different reactions to it. I mean, I thought it was just a good thing to think about. But one person was talking about how it was some kind of white male privilege thing that they had gone in and brought out atheistic paganism to stamp out. I don't know. She was going off on something, but she put in white male privilege. And I was like, what does this have to do with white male? Are you talking about like 2,000 years ago, these Greek philosophers? We shouldn't listen to them because they're white male privilege.
Well, is she trying to say that, like, because they're white and privileged, they don't believe the gods and therefore they're wrong?
No. Okay, so what it was as I was talking to her later, she was saying that the person who had wrote the article was coming from a place of white male privilege. And so at some point I just told her, I said, that's offensive. I'm just going to tell you right now, this is how I feel about that. It's insulting. It's incredibly simplistic. It's insulting. And I'm really offended by that. I'm really sick of this because it doesn't do anything to help anybody who's underprivileged. It doesn't help anybody economically, doesn't help anybody educationally, doesn't help anybody socially. The only thing it does is to try to somehow bring down other people, but it doesn't do anything else. So anyhow, the whole reason why I'm going into this is because I strongly disagreed with her, and I got it. This other lady came into it, and so I was like fighting both of these people. But the one lady who I was originally talking with, she just said, well, I don't agree with you. And I was like, well, I don't agree with you. And then we moved on from it, you know. But this other person was still like, she was still typing away, like trying to get me to bite. And I was just, you know, after a while, I just ignored her. I mean, that's one of the good things I like about pagans is that even if we don't meet eye to eye about things, even if we strongly disagree about stuff, at least we can talk about it. And, you know, sometimes people flip out about it and whatever. But for the most part, it seems like we can still disagree and we can keep going from that point. you know.
I try to, but sometimes I'm just really childish.
Well, it also depends. I mean, sometimes we get really wrapped up in our position in our argument, you know.
Yeah,
We got
I'm
to,
passionate.
yeah, we get passionate. We get our ego wrapped up into it because it's like, well, if my position is wrong, does that mean that I'm wrong? And so, yeah, there's a lot of our self that we put into our position, and I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people will continue to hold and stay stern on really stupid ideas.
No, yeah, you're right. You're right. But I mean, I think I heard this. Bill Nye was talking about this. Bill Nye, the science guy. He said something like, people have a tendency to not want to believe things. So instead of trying to disprove, like you said, the facts, the science, they try to disprove the person who said it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because it's like, yeah, and I agree with you. I agree with that. I think that's a good way of putting it. I mean, I don't know. I've just thought about this whole privilege thing, and I think that there's different, obviously there's different levels of privilege. But if I, for example, here in San Francisco, we have homeless people, and then we have a population that are very affluent. I mean, they live in some very expensive houses with some fantastic views, and you know, they are living a really good life. They probably have a couple of houses, definitely a couple of cars. They're really living it up. And some of them are black athletes and, you know, black doctors and people who are doing really well in life. And then there's people on the street who are white, they're Caucasians, and they're out living on the street and living off of whatever SSI or whatever it is that they get. And there is no fucking way that you can tell me that this white person who is living on the street is more privileged because of the color of their skin than this African American athlete who's living in this house with a couple of cars. No way. It's absolutely not possible.
You know
So
what,
you
Lila, but
can't have people.
I do agree with you like 90% of the way on this one. I
Yeah.
have tried to like ask my African American neighbor, my black neighbor. She tried to explain it to me, and I don't quite understand it. I understand maybe there is less equality in some areas that we need to work on, but I, as a white individual, am less privileged than she is. She went to college. She has a college education. She has a better job than I do. She is more sophisticated and more well learned than I am. So how is her being black prevented her from anything?
Right. And also to me, so that was one of the first layers that I went through to kind of understand this. But then the other thing is like, okay, let's say that you do recognize all of these various points of privilege that you have. Maybe, first of all, you can speak the language socially, economically, educationally, all these various things that give you an advantage in life. Just face it, there are many people, we all have different advantages depending upon where we live in this world. Some of us have less privilege, some of us have less benefits, many of us have much more. However, that has absolutely no bearing upon the person next to you. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I do. You know,
Yeah.
because we're each here on an individual basis. We're not here as a group
Yeah.
for
So
the
like
most part.
so the guy who's living in the house with a couple of cars, a lot of money or whatever, and the guy who's living out on the street, you know, barely surviving, these you could take one person out of that position, like the rich person, it's not going to have any bearing on the person who's living on the street. That's the other thing that pisses me off about this. Now, we can put that aside and we can say, well, first of all, a lot of the social problems that happen, educational problems and economic problems, yeah, I agree. Those things we need to work on. I think that education needs to be more accessible. I think that people need to have access to more entry-level, high-paying jobs, not just minimum wage jobs, but actually high-paying jobs where they can actually make a living. And then also, you know, just social factors like, you know, how to interact with other people. But none of those things are addressed by person B or A recognizing their level of privilege. It just doesn't have any effect upon, it doesn't have any bearing upon it. That's the thing that frustrates me the most. It's like, you're spinning your wheels. You're not actually changing. You're not actually trying to uplift the inner cities in America. You're just spinning your wheels and pointing fingers at people. It's not doing anything, you know?
Well, I don't know. I'm just thinking here, and this is just right off the top of my head. Perhaps maybe that the idea of check your privilege, you know, once you do that, you would, oh, I've got a couple extra bucks. Maybe I should go and donate to an inner city charity so we can get those books for them inner city kids. Maybe it has to do with like planting an idea in your head, but I don't think the proper way to go about it is to shame you into it. So I don't know.
No, I agree with you. I see your point. Yeah, and I think that that's a level of compassion and empathy that people should have in the beginning. But I think if you shame somebody for their affluence or their level of privilege in society, I don't think that is 100% going to cause them to become that self-aware and that much more empathetic and compassionate. I don't know. I don't think that is going to happen. I think that it's
I agree. I think it's causing a lot of hatred and strife actually right now.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly. That's the way that I feel. It causes guilt is what it causes. It causes more people to feel guilty for what they have or who they are. That's the one thing that I don't like. The other thing is, like I said, it doesn't really change anything. It's just spinning wheels.
True.
And then, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, it's like that's true because you're only at the beginning stages. You haven't implemented anything. You haven't implemented the change, the end goal. All you have is Black Lives Matter. Woo!
Yeah. And I mean, I grew up in a majority Black neighborhood. I went to a majority Black school, you know, and it's you don't raise people up by offering little handouts, and it just worked that way. The best thing to do is to educate, you know, people socially, give them opportunities to move into higher paying jobs. And a lot of the jobs that we have nowadays, I don't think you necessarily have to go to school and get a PhD in. You can go into a job, an entry level position, and work your way up into a higher paying job. And I think that's the best way to do it, rather than wasting money and having to pay student loans that you're going to be paying for the rest of your life. And I think a lot of these opportunities are lacking in inner cities. And that's what we really need to concentrate on, in my opinion, at least. Because the only thing scarier than a Black guy with a gun is a Black guy with a PhD and no criminal record.
He's gonna school you.
That'll scare the shit out of any white racist.
They're hilarious.
What do you mean? He's educated. He knows what he's doing, and he doesn't have a criminal record. Oh shit! What do I do now? He doesn't fit the stereotype.
Call him a nigger. That's like the one thing that they always resort to is name calling. I don't know what to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyhow, that was my little rant for today, because I was just like, I posted that and I was like, how the fuck? What does this have to do with atheistic paganism? It's like, and the article had absolutely nothing to do with that. So anyhow,
Well, I don't understand how he could be coming from a white privilege because he wrote about, his opinions on atheistic witchcraft.
Well, it was interesting because it was atheistic paganism.
Oh, excuse me, atheistic paganism.
Yeah. I mean, which I think was really controversial to begin with, because I think most people, when we think of pagans, especially like, not neo-pagans, but I mean classical pagans, pre-Christian religions, we always think of like polytheism, pantheistic religions, different beliefs. You have different cultures who usually it was polytheistic.
Yeah.
And so the article was talking about how, first of all, there was a lot of Greek philosophers who were atheistic in their approach, and how they viewed the gods, especially like the Greek gods, as representations of the elements. And so, I mean, it was really interesting, because that's how I had always perceived gods and goddesses, was as representations of not only ourselves, but also the forces of nature around us. A good example of that would be like the Green Man,
Uh-huh.
And I knew that there was I know there's at least one other person in this group who calls herself an atheistic witch. So I thought, maybe it'd be interesting for people to have this discussion. I'll see what happens with this. I just was really surprised that it kind of took that weird turn. The fuck does this have to do with it?
Well, I can say, as someone who's accepted her atheistic ways, thank you so much for being open about what you believe, because it really has helped me kind of come to terms with certain things. Because I really didn't ever believe in God, at least not like the Christian concept of God, from like the age of 12. But I was still kind of questioning, could there be something? And, your channel kind of helped me come to certain realizations. So thank you for being on YouTube, Logan.
Oh, well, thank you, Zabora. I appreciate that. Oh, no, I've created a heathen.
You've turned me from my gods.
I've turned her to the dark side. Oh, no.
He promised me cookies.
I turned to the dark side and there were no cookies.
Now you've created a monster. Zabora don't have cookies.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I was actually thinking about starting like an atheist pagan group. Because I bet you there's other people out there who kind of, maybe they're thinking about it or whatever.
Well, yeah, maybe so. Because I know when I first got into YouTube, I was kind of at that halfway thing, because my magic worked and I called on these god and goddess, but I had no concept of either of them. So I was kind of like borderline, are they there? Are they listening? What the fuck, But I've kind of realized that those two things are separate. And actually through the Egyptian pantheon and studying their artwork and stuff, you can see that they also had this concept of gods being part of nature and being ideas and things like that. So you have Ma'at with big M, who is the personified goddess. And you have Ma'at little m, which is order, truth, and the Egyptian way of life. It's a concept. It's not a physical being. And then the physical being represents these things. So you pray to the physical being to carry out these ideas. So, through Egyptian paganism, I found atheism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I mean, I fully respect people's opinions about things. I mean, I think for a long time, I called myself an agnostic. And actually, if you ever see my other channel, I call myself the Agnostic Witch. And
I remember when you were doing those videos in the beginning, Logan. I've been here for a while watching your
channel. Yeah, I know, really. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've been following my channel for a long time.
Years.
Yeah. Yeah, years, which is great. I think that's fantastic. And you still stuck around.
Big Daddy, Big Daddy.
But I really called it agnostic because I'm in a position where I really don't know. I mean, this is kind of like my theory. This is my idea. So when I meet other people who believe in Christian God, or they believe in polytheistic, or they have a polytheistic outlook, they believe in certain deities. I don't condemn them. I don't laugh at them. I don't try to disprove them, because I understand that there's no way that I can prove that it doesn't exist. And I'm not into trying to shame people or make fun of them. So I just really want people who are in the chat room to understand that if they believe in a Christian God, or they believe in a polytheistic deities, that's fine. I'm not judging you. It's just, for me, I just don't. It's just not the way that I perceive it. And I think that that's one of the other great things about pagans, is that we are allowed to also have a whole wide range of our approach to our concepts of what we believe is running the universe.
Very much so. Very much so. And I understand your agnostic approach. I personally no deity, and if there is deity, then it's this human created thing. I don't think deity created us. I think we created deity.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm straight atheist. I don't think deity exists outside of this egregore that took on its own life,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just not sold on some things.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to think about, because yeah. So anyhow, I was thinking about creating this group. The Morrigan's Crows said, "Why don't you write a book on atheistic paganism?" I don't know.
That'd be great, because you can do self-publishing and everything else these days.
Yeah, that's true. But then I'd actually have to write stuff.
Isn't that what you do for a living?
Not anymore. I used to write.
You should write a book.
But I mean, it was just like a couple of little things that I wrote, not a big deal. Never made a living off of it. But I mean, but it takes work. Writing takes work,
Well, yeah. I'm still trying to type up my Book of Shadows for 10 years.
Yeah, really. You have what? Do you have one Book of Shadows?
Yeah, I only have one. I have a binder that I keep everything together in. It's a 3-inch binder, and it's about 4 inches thick.
Because printed, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8. I have 8 that are handwritten.
Mm-hmm.
No, excuse me. I have 6 that are handwritten, and then I have 2 that are printed, and then I have a shit ton on my computer.
Wow. No,
Yeah.
mine's just all handwritten. It's just the one, but I've revised it 3 times. There's been a lot of the fluffy duffy stuff kind of got purged about 6 years ago. But my ultimate plan is to use that as my personal copy that I want to be cremated with.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to leave behind a hardbound copy for whatever student I choose it for.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I choose to leave it to a family member or whatever. Because I'm not going to have kids.
Yeah. So the Red Devil asked, "What is a Book of Shadows?" So a Book of Shadows is today, a modern Book of Shadows is a way for a person who, usually a witch, but not always a witch. Some people keep grimoires or whatever. But it's sort of a go-to book where maybe you put all sorts of various things, like how you do certain rituals, what you believe about, how you celebrate the various seasonal passages of times, like the equinoxes and the solstices. Maybe it's how you view correspondences, and you have those things in a book of shadows. So it's sort of like a go-to place for all the knowledge that you hold for your beliefs and your practice, depending upon what it is. That's what a modern day book of shadows is. The history of a book of shadows, which is something I should probably do a video on. The original title of a book of shadows probably comes from Gerald Gardner, although it probably is based on something that pre-exists that. He called his book of shadows, all the rituals and everything that he was passed on from the people who initiated him, the New Forest Coven. However, before him, there were always ceremonial magicians and alchemists and astrologers and people who had been studying the occult who passed information down to each other, like books and various stuff, and they would copy it over because books were very, very hard to get. Nowadays, we go and we download books, we buy books off of Amazon. But 1600s, 1500s, if you got a hold of a book, an occult book, you probably were loaned it briefly or something, or maybe you went to a library and found it or something, and you copied it. There was no Kinko's, there was no place to go and get a photocopy. So you hand copied that information. And books were very, very rare. Nowadays, we have them all over the place, but still it's traditional, quote unquote, traditional for people who practice a form of witchcraft at their own practice to copy and hold a book of shadows that has all that information. So that's how I would view a book of shadows. But again, other people may view it differently too.
That's pretty much how I view mine. I also happen to use mine as a reference guide, kind of as an ultimate spell book. I've got all my information about the different types of divination, herbs, crystals, just spells that I've had success with. That's why I have my book of mirrors. That's what I test everything with. And then when I have success with the spell, I put it in my book of shadows.
Mm-hmm. So now what is a book of mirrors?
That's your book of reflections. As I understand it, it's something that only you see, and it's your personal journey as a witch. Like, this happened, so I performed this spell at this time. You tell people, record the time of the moon and record the kind of weather that was outside when you did this spell, because you never know what's going to influence this kind of spell work. That's where you would record everything. It's your magical journal. Because I view them as separate. The Book of Shadows and the Book of Mirrors as separate.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's kind of like a magical diary.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I would consider like a magical diary to be completely different from a book of shadows like you do. But yeah, so like a diary I would keep of, what the weather was like, what the time of day was, what the phase of the moon was, what the spell work was.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it was, and I would keep. Yeah, and I would keep track about it. And then one of the things that I really like to do is keep a little space at the bottom for later on, because sometimes you do working for something, and sometimes it can happen in a way that you didn't quite expect. And then maybe it might not dawn on you for a little while, like, I did that spell for such and such, and it didn't really happen the way I thought it was going to happen. And then you have that little space at the bottom to write it in.
I totally do that. I go back with a different colored so I know, or I'll put a little note, this is what the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So I can tweak my spell for later dates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So that's I think that's an incredibly valuable thing But the one thing that was told to me that's incredibly valuable that unfortunately I don't do is keep a dream journal. I'm really bad about that.
I don't dream a lot, so I don't have a dream journal either.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking stoner dreams is like the only time I dream. That's it.
Okay.
I don't dream. I had a work dream. I ID'd 2 people, and I was like, sorry, those don't work. I don't take university IDs.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta go. It's just shit like that. I don't really dream too much.
Yeah, I have dreams, but I usually only remember like one when I wake up. I think it was probably maybe the last dream I had, or if maybe there was some really fantastic dream that really stuck out of my mind. I'll keep track of that. So the Red Devil says, "Can I pay one of you guys to put a hex on Trump?"
Well, you could, sweetie, but you may not like the results.
Yeah, everybody knows my position on that. They've seen my videos. I'm very much opposed to that. I think it's very, it goes against what people, and I'm not saying that everybody should believe this, but I'm specific people, it goes against their own code of morals. But for some reason, they justify doing it against Trump. I think that that's very hypocritical. The other thing is, I don't think we should use our magic to influence such a global thing. I think that I think it's incredibly dangerous, but I think it's also really stupid and it's ridiculous. There are many ways that you can get somebody out of office by voting, getting somebody in office, voting. You can, if you can sign a petition to impeach him. There's all sorts of mundane physical things you can do in this world. You don't need to do magic because often, like I said, when you keep a magical diary, sometimes magic works in ways that you don't quite expect it to. So if you want the president to be hexed or cursed or bound, it may happen in an unexpected way that you really don't want to happen. And I think that is one of the most unfortunate things that a lot of people don't quite understand with what they're doing when they're hexing the president of the United States.
I feel when it comes to magic, you don't use it in religious wars and you don't use it in political wars. It's like the conversation things. You just don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and it's just kind of, there's just, people have said it various ways. I mean, there's so many things that you can do in the mundane world to change your life. You don't have to always resort to magic.
Well, I don't know why people forget magic takes the path of least resistance. So if it's really difficult for magic to manifest that job because you a crackhead, maybe we got to work on some other issues before we can get you to where you need to go. You got to work the mundane as well as the spiritual. They go hand in hand.
Yeah. It's kind of like, let's say you work a spell to get a job, like a higher paying job or whatever. And, but you don't create a resume. You don't leave the house. You don't go in for interviews. You don't tell people you're looking for a job. It's like,
exactly.
What do you expect? You expect somebody to knock on your door, showing up saying, "Hey, I want to hire you for this fantastic job." And if you think that only working magic is going to cause that to happen in your life, you're seriously mistaken. So yeah, and I agree with you, Zabora. I think that you have to perform stuff in the mundane world too, and magic is just going to help that to happen for you. But if you rely 100% on magic to, let's say, cure cancer or make you a millionaire, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I actually have a joke, but it's kind of long. The basic punchline is like, even the goddess, works through the mundane.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're
you never see God doing some twacked out shit. He never just hops down off of his unicorn from heaven and goes, "I'm Jesus, bitch," you know? He's always like, "Bleed, statue, from your bunghole and be called a miracle." So I don't know. My opinion.
yeah, and I agree with you. I think that, like, let's say you're first of all working on your own self-confidence. You're working on, you know, presenting yourself in a positive light so that when you go out for a job interview, you really stick out. I'll give you a little sample. It was a long time ago when I think I was like 18 or 19, 20 years old or something, but I was looking for a job. And I wrote on my resume, hire this guy. And it was kind of like a little spell. And I turned it in, and I was hired, and I became the manager of that place. I was one of the youngest managers of a cafe in Berkeley.
Damn, dude, get it.
Yeah, but I wanted to do that. But I went out and, like, you know, introduced myself to the owner and gave him my resume. No, I didn't introduce myself to the owner. I went in and met the owner later. When I went in to give the resume, I gave it to the guy and I wrote on the resume, hire this guy. But you have to. Go ahead.
See, now I'm so bad. I called our owner a cracker. I insulted him. I'm like, "You are the whitest guy I know. You fucking cracker." Maybe that's why I get $7.25 an hour.
Well, at least you didn't call him a honky.
Well, I made him laugh, so I mean that's kind of like the ultimate goal. I want everybody leaving with a smile on their face. You may have lost, but you're happy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you actually went out and you did something. You tried. You work with the magic.
Yeah, you do. You have to set the magic up for success. There are things that we do in the physical. That's why we have physical objects like mojos. That's why we burn physical things like candles. There is a connection to the physical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, I think it's going to help whatever it is going along to accomplish its goal. But you have to actually give it it's almost like a running start. But I mean, if you give it a good running start, it's going to work for you. If you don't, it might work, but it's probably going to take a really long time, or it just might not work, you know? I mean, that's why I wonder about some people. They talk about their magic doesn't work. It's like, well, what were you trying to do?
Yeah, exactly. It's like I've created my protection mojo, and I have also, you know, worked within the parameters of the law, or worked within the parameters of the rules. So I'm not going to get popped on anything. So my protection magic works because I also protect myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, one of the no, I agree with you. And I think one of the very first things that you have to understand about, or at least I have to understand about protection magic, is it begins with me. And that's if I am protected on the inside and I'm confident of that, that's going to be the very first place that my protective magic starts. You know, like if you were concerned about somebody attacking you or hexing you, be mindful and confident of whatever it is that you perform, so that you yourself feel confident and strong about it, because that's going to be your very first defense, is you, you know.
Exactly.
Because I feel like sometimes a lot of people, they believe that somebody hexed them, or they believe that somebody cursed them, and what they do is they fuck themselves up. They almost begin to sort of see negative stuff in their life. Right, yeah. And they sort of begin to amplify it in their life. And
Well,
that's
I agree.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting you.
No, it's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind.
No,
But yeah,
I agree with you because unfortunately you do see this a lot with people with mental illness because those are a lot of the ones that need the cleansings. They always feel kind of dirty and they always feel attacked and they always feel like, they need to be spiritually cleaned. And there's nothing that you can do magically for that. That's medication and therapy. Um, but even regular old people can fall into this habit. It's like you have a dirty home, you feel bogged down. The second you clean your home, it feels lighter and more spiritual, and you just feel better. So it is a little bit of a physical aspect in that as well because negativity is dirty, and when we have dirty in our home, that holds negativity. Again, in my opinion, dust holds bad vibrations.
I'm looking around going, oh shit. I got to clean
I know
pretty
I'm
soon.
bad
But
too. I'm bad too.
yeah. But I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I think that, yes, definitely clean the house, open the windows, get some fresh air in. And yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
that's one of the very first things, anything like any kind of negativity that's you feel in your life, maybe even flip your mattress or whatever. But all those various things help to clean and refresh and start anew. And yeah, I agree with you. I think that that's a very good point too. I mean, for myself, I don't really like sit down and like do a protection spell. I mean, I have in the past if I really feel like I have to, but I mean, I do a daily ritual and a weekly ritual where I just sort of build myself up, I guess is the best way to describe it. And that in itself helps to keep me feeling confident and feeling protected.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
cool. So it's kind of like you're just building up your own psychic shields.
yeah. I mean, it's like it's a form of meditation that I do, and to sort of build up your own psychic shields and yeah, becoming aware of what's going. I mean, I did a whole video on it.
I might have missed it, dude.
Keep
I haven't
shilling
been
my
great.
videos out. What was that?
I haven't been like great with watching other people's videos.
Oh, it's okay.
I've
It's
been
okay. I was
busy.
just. Oh yeah, I know. I was just shilling my stuff out there. Well,
Oh no, that's what it's
it's
for.
kind of inconspicuous because I called the video "Shielding for Empaths." Yeah, it was
Oh
one of
yeah,
my
I
Wicked
remember
Tube
that. That
videos.
was a while ago.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, that's basically it. That's exactly what I do, and it's really simple to do. It takes like I don't know, like maybe 20 minutes, and you just do it every day. And I mean, you don't have to do it every day. You can do it once a week, however long you need to do. But that helps, at least in my opinion.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have different things that I do, but that's awesome.
But what do you do, or do you want to share
um,
it with?
well, working within the Egyptian parameter, there's a lot of emphasis on the clean. So I actually do like a monthly cleanse,
Mhm.
and then afterwards, I light a candle and I do a protection ritual. So I feel like this ritualized actions actually builds my home up, which makes me confident, and I present a confident person into this world. And a lot of people just don't like to fuck with that, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of a lazy witch. I take shortcuts, I guess. I didn't want to admit that, but now I have.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. I mean, it's funny because I do try, like I said, I do like a daily ritual and I do a weekly ritual. There is a weekly ritual which I try to do, but I don't always do it. And it's like, sometimes it'll be like I do it on a certain day, and I'll be like, okay, I'm not going to do it today. I'll do it
Yeah.
tomorrow, And then tomorrow comes, and I'm like, well, I'll do it the next
Eh,
day. It's okay.
fuck
And
this
then it's
week.
like, then the fourth day passes. You're like, oh shit. Well, I have to wait a whole nother week because it's not the right day.
Yeah. or not the right moon phase. It's too late
Right.
now.
Exactly. So yeah, you can kind of keep procrastinating so much where you're just like you're putting it off, going, well, I can't do it now because it's too late. I guess I'll just have to wait till next week. It's just you
Yeah,
just
I've
keep
done that.
making it
I've
up
done
for
that.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I personally just cleanse myself, you know, because I deal with a mental illness myself. And I feel
Mhm.
when I cleanse myself in my home, you know, that gets rid of everything and I'm good to go for another month. And that's kind of helped me psychologically deal with some things too. So witchcraft
Mhm.
can be a good form of medicine, but you should also always consult a physician.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean it's not a panacea. It's not going to make you rich and famous and cure all your problems.
Exactly.
And I think that was one of the very first things I said in most of my videos was that, if you get into magic or witchcraft or whatever for power, you're
You're
going to
not
be
going to
disappointed.
find it.
Yeah, you're going to be disappointed. It's not that way. You don't study a couple of books and become rich and famous, but you might find out a little bit more about yourself.
Exactly.
Yep.
Surprisingly enough, one of the first things that piqued my interest about witchcraft, and it actually came from a Christian. So congratulations, dude, you're an idiot. Um, he was the father of a friend of mine, and he told me that witchcraft was real and it was Satanism. And he used to light candles with his mind. And I'm like, I really like fire. I want to be able to do that. So I actually kind of really started looking deeper and stuff into witchcraft. I think I was like a freshman. So yeah, I was like really like 13, 14 years old at that time. So it was his fault that I got into witchcraft. He told me I could light things on fire with my mind.
Yeah, that'd be a really cool trick.
I was like, damn, I want to be able to do that. Hail Satan.
So let's see. There was another question Red Devil had here. He said, "Okay, so I was joking about putting a hex on Trump, but do you believe that you or someone else's magic could affect global affairs?" Um,
Yes, I do. And there is instances in that in history, in my opinion.
mhm.
You guys all know who Gardner is, father of Wicca, right? Right? If you're good witches, you do. Him and his coven were rumored to stand on the shores of Britain and perform spells against Germany to keep them from entering into the UK, and it was successful. So, in my opinion, you get enough witches together, you can accomplish anything. But it's really fucking hard to do. To get more than 13 people on the same mindset is almost impossible. My opinion.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about, and yeah, that's. I'm pretty sure 99. I'm 99% certain that did take place, because there was this. Uh, Philip Heselton talks about it. Um, uh, Dorian Valiente talks about it, and they actually went to the place where it was supposed to have taken place, and so there's a lot of it's probably a very strong possibility that they did do that ritual. As for it was rumored that there were a couple of people, because they were rather old and frail, who ended up dying after that ritual. I don't know about that. There's elements. I do know. I'm pretty sure that the ritual did take place. As to who was there and what happened, I don't know. That I
Exactly.
don't.
That's why I
I
just
don't
said
really know.
Gardner rumor. You know, I
Yeah,
don't want to bring any names into this.
yeah. But as for the question, I think that it is possible, but I think it's really questionable about if you should. I mean, it's one of the things that you discover in coven work is that sometimes not everybody's on the same page, in a sense. I think that that's why most people prefer to be solitary, because you know exactly what you're doing. You know what your intention is. You know what your will is. You know what you're doing.
Yes.
The person next to you, or, you know, possibly quote unquote feeding energy into it or whatever, you don't know what their intention is. And they may be trying to do something else, or, you know what I mean? Their intention might be something completely different from what you're trying to do. Like, for example, the thing that was happening with Trump. I'm sure a lot of people were probably very wanting to have Trump to be bound, to prevent him from, you know, doing the DACA and doing all these things, and just become bound and to be held into place. That has a lot of negative consequences because he is the president of the United States and does need to act. That has an element in it. But then you probably have other people who may be putting an intention in there for something else to happen to Trump or whatever. So that's why I was very much opposed to it. And I think that there's also a certain level of responsibility that you have. If you believe that you can work magic and you have seen it work and you believe it to work, you then have a responsibility to understand that some things you don't need to do magic on. And I think that's probably more important than understanding what you do need to do magic on. Sometimes the best thing to do is to shut your mouth and just let stuff happen. And it's a hard lesson to learn, but it's really good. You know, you don't have to do something, you know. It's like I've heard people talking about curses and stuff like that. It's like having a gun, and you have to understand that that's a responsibility, and you can actually cause stuff to happen, and you need to hold back on it. But of course, if you're a person who doesn't believe in magic and you don't take it seriously and you haven't really seen the effects of magic, then you're probably less willing to take responsibility for stuff to happen, and just kind of like you're almost like playing, like you're sort of acting, you're going through the motions, but you don't really think that magic is actually happening. And I think that that's kind of like what people sort of do. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I hate to bring up the whole fluffy bunny threefold law, but yeah, magic happens, ripples do come out, and they do affect the world around us. And yeah, you know, but I mean, I don't know. I could just sit here and tell people that all fucking day, but everybody has their own opinion. And sometimes you have to go out and get your ass burned.
True, very true. Well, I can say, like, as a witch that does curse, it takes me a very long time to get to that point. You really have to push me. I mean, like, it's bad. With this shit at work, with my coworker saying, "Oh, I'm gonna get you fired. I'm out to get you." You know, the most I've done is some protection magic, like, "Go away, little fly, shoo fly, don't bother me." That's the most that I've done for this situation. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, like, as curse work goes, yes, I will defend myself. I do go to the extreme because I'm that person, but it takes me a long time to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that spell against Trump was ridiculous. I mean, that thing was all over the place. Come on.
Yeah. And the Red Devil, again, he says, you guys should help us out with global warming, do us a solid. I don't really think so. Global warming is one of those things that the Earth is going to be here. You know, humans probably won't. If we do something to fuck up the Earth, we're going to pay the price for it. In a couple thousands of years, the Earth is going to be just fine. You know. So I'm not going to do anything for global warming. I mean, I will do physical actions to try to prevent global warming. But as for magical, no, that's not my responsibility. That's everybody's responsibility.
I agree. I don't work magic for global warming. I take the bus and reduce my carbon footprint. but I don't do magic for global warming.
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest things we need to do is quit driving fucking fossil fuels. That would help so much.
Yes.
First of all,
yes.
it would get us off the teat of the Middle East. And then second of all, it would stop producing all the crap that goes into the atmosphere. We switch to electric cars, but that's going to take a long time to do. Oh man, come on. I don't know, Red Devil. I think to a certain point, it's, you know, I mean, again, it comes back to that what we were talking about earlier. Like, there's some things in this world that you just need to take physical action on. I mean, I think that's good to maybe do a ritual for it, but if you're not going out and actually like trying to be aware of, you know, how much you drive your car or how much pollution you're making or whatever. I mean, you don't have to sit there and count every little single thing you do, but there are certain things you can probably just start eliminating from your life that is going to help a little bit, you know?
So who's bitching about we don't do global warming magic? Who is it?
Oh, no. He was saying, you guys should help us out with global warming. Do us a solid.
Oh,
I think
no,
he's just kind of having fun with us.
Oh, no, I was going to say, like, I promised to do a ritual on Arbor Day that the world become more aware of its actions. And I will post, you know, like hashtag Arbor Day and a picture of the spell. Okay? Is that going to make you happy?
I mean, I think it is important, but, you know, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. There's not too much we can, you know. I mean, I'd like to.
You and I both know there's going to be space travel in 1,000 years. We're going to have space travel. Come on. Fuck this world. We're going to find another one to colonize.
Yeah, and then we'll fuck that world up too. No, I mean, it's just that usually people change only when they absolutely have to.
And then by that, it's usually too late.
Right, exactly. That's kind of like the way that I are.
Yeah, that's who we are.
I mean, look at how long we've been relying upon fossil fuels. It's like, you know, I mean, it's ridiculous. We don't have to rely so heavily on fossil fuels anymore.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, we're horrible. We're horrible as people.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm going to start winding this down. So I think maybe I'll have another hangout tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, because I was doing those. To eat. Yeah, because I was doing those Saturday hangouts for a while. Maybe we'll start that up.
That sounds fun. Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah.
So, are there any more questions?
Yeah, really. Any more questions? Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up. I just feel kind of bad because it was really Witchy Jim who wanted to do this, and then he had problems, and then he ended up cutting out. So I hope
he totally rage quit.
Well, I think he was just feeling a little frustrated. Then it was like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, no, I understand because I've been there. I feel bad too.
So Leon is saying Drunken Heathen is tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
Is Loki doing that every Saturday?
I don't know.
Well, I'll find out what time she's doing it so I don't conflict with it.
There you go. Good man.
Yeah. All right, doesn't look like there's any more questions. So Zabora, thank you so much. It was wonderful chatting with you. Everybody in the chat room, Red Devil, thank you for your questions. Thanks. They were talking back and forth with each other. So
of course, as always. Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you.
All right, have a good one.
All right,
good night. Good
night, everybody.